to welcome you all formally. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Adelegan, has traveled, and so he's unable himself to come to welcome you. So I'm doing this on his behalf and on behalf of the rest of the university to say that you are welcome to this event. I shall be speaking more fully to tell you why I have invited you all to come and to take time off your work in order to listen to what we have to say. I thank you for respecting this invitation, for acceding to the invitation. And my partners and I, Mr. Uzo Demba of Trend Media City, and Mr. Madu Chikwendu, who is official of FEPACI. They will join us much later. And so I'm going to beg your indulgence, great indulgence for their coming. I am here to represent all of the groups and to say that I hope we're going to have a fruitful deliberation. This is an event before the event. It's important for us to get your buy-in into this project because it is not a Nigerian project. It is an African project and a global project because everyone is interested in African film and entertainment. Because beginning to make a difference in the way that we perceive entertainment, in the way that culture is perceived globally. So this is something that I really want everyone to look at and say your contribution to the planning of that December event. Because that is a momentous event for us. We hope to be able to launch the film and the Entertainment Investment Fund there, private fund. But I really would like to see to hear you out, see your contributions, and so that when we hold that event, we will know that we have you behind us. We have all of the industry behind us. This is really the idea. So, welcome, and I hope we have a very good time. Now, there is only one reason why we are here. We want to introduce to you, and by we, I mean the School of Media and Communication, partnering with Trend Media City and FEPACI. I want to introduce to you the African Film and Entertainment Investment Summit. This summit, which we hold in December, is intended to be a gathering of all the stakeholders in film and entertainment in Africa. And our projects will be able to invite not only local and regional investors, as well as filmmakers and entertainment producers, but also to go beyond the African shores and look at global interests. We want to be able to bring together investors, film and other content producers, executives, media people, government officials, including not just our government, but African governments in general, to see how we can discuss and set about the securing financing for film, television, entertainment content. And we hope as a critical part of that process to set up the Film and Entertainment Investment Fund. It is going to be a private fund. To break this down into the bits and pieces, to link film and entertainment professionals with investors. What is typically happening in the industry at the moment, there is suspicion on the part of investors. They do not understand the industry very well. The industry hasn't demonstrated its capacity to, to stand substantial funding. And some of the projects that have been funded have not been successful. So a mechanism needs to be devised to ensure that when funds are available, the funds are utilized for what they are meant for, and there is a proper return for investment. Investors don't just want to put money in a sinkhole, they want returns, and they want some security for investments. So, and also for those who are interested in securing investment for their projects, be they content producers and so on, to ensure that they have the right kind of information, and for investors themselves, the ability to appraise projects. For us, we're going to be facilitate this appraisal process, connecting with different experts in the field to be able to appraise projects in the right way, with the right information. And to see funding opportunities that are available for producers and others who are interested in producing content, network on prospects and projects, facilitate financing agreements, and to create linkage with other regional and global film and entertainment producers, and by that, I mean those outside the African continent. There is a lot of interest from the Indians, for instance, in the Bollywood industry. A lot of interest. We have had some discussions already with, producers in Brazil and investors also in Brazil and in Latin America broadly, in Central America, even more importantly, the United States especially. It's important to be able to create some, as part of this whole project, some brief clinic as a side event for those who are seeking funding. We have been speaking with the African USA Chamber of Commerce of FUSA. There's Mr. Washington, for instance, is the executive director of FUSA. We've had conversations with him since the beginning of the year, in fact starting from last year. And we expect that they'll be able to send in a 10-person delegation. As a matter of fact, I shall be traveling to the US with Mr. Bemba in April and May in order to speak at some of the forums devoted to this project. We expect also to do a fair amount of traveling in and around Africa to speak about this project and be able to connect with African governments and African investors and bankers on this project. So who are those that we are seeking to attend this event? Typically venture capitalists and institutional investors, commercial and investment bankers, financiers and executives, individuals who may be interested in, because there are some individuals who are not institutionalized but are interested in investing in entertainment. Okay, we also expect that entrepreneurs in the collateral industries, for instance in music and fashion and media, because this is the way that the film industry works. Film is an omnibus art, and therefore there are collateral industries that are interested in it, and they have a key part to play in it. So we expect that this is not just going to be for film producers or for entertainment producers or other content producers or sports, for instance, but we think that a number of other industries are interested in it because film is an omnibus art, as I said. Distributors, for instance, are also involved in this, public regulators and others. We're looking at the world that has actually shifted a lot from primary production into not even secondary or tertiary production, but into the quaternary and quinary industry, the creative industry. This is where the world is heading. And it is heading into this new direction in a massive way. And Africa is one new zone, one virgin territory that everyone is looking to in order to provide a kind of new energy with the industry looking at. Well, of course, we hope that in order to ensure that this project becomes successful, we're hoping that we'll be able to attract people who sponsor with part of it. That's why we're invited to introduce the project to you. And to hear your own part of the story, what you would like to see, what directions you would like us to be going, although we're very firm on some of the things that we want to do. But it's important that we get a buy-in to hear from you and to see what advice you would like to suggest, what issues you would like to raise between now and December.
My intervention will be in the area that we're preparing for the summit proper. I think we should try to dedicate some presentation with regards to risk mitigation in the industry. Because yes, there are challenges. Funds are here available, but they are not access to the level that everybody will want. But I think we should find a way of engaging the insurance industry and let them beware so that let it begin to come to form that truly risk mitigating instruments are needed in the industry, because that will help typically the industry, that will help mitigate some of the risks that are there. especially the financiers, and even the investors that are coming, let them at least be aware that should there be losses that will be coming, there are mitigants available even in the industry. I think that will help.
I'm a consultant, and I just wanted to point out that we see the African film and entertainment, I'm presuming that entertainment, there is a provision for sports to be part of it. And I say that without sense of responsibility, because sport is one of the biggest forms of entertainment right now in the continent. So come out from the nation's top that captivated a huge, section of our population and kept everybody due to the TV sets.
But what have I learned in almost about 15 years out of the entertainment industry is I've gone into advertising, I've gone into global branding, events, trade promotions, and I've come to the conclusion that two critical issues are fundamental to the current status of our industry, and it's about self. First, there's an arrogance of knowledge on the part of practitioners. Secondly, and that means there's no humility. And then secondly, there's an apathy to wealth. And I'll describe this very well. And any vocation that does not attract capital will remain just a vocation. It's not an industry. So when you say you have an industry, you don't have an industry in the true sense of it. So my paper today basically wants to speak to what are those challenges that has mitigated against the emergence of this industry as a viable industry. Why are we still so poor? So I think for us to aspire to be an industry, there are a couple of parameters, a couple of the fundamentals that must be. First is that the artists and the talents must regard themselves as just products. Products. You can't be a product and want to package yourself, and want to market yourself, and want to speak for yourself. Why can't we subject ourselves to management? Talent cannot package and manage themselves. It's the first thing. Secondly, is the need for us to attract capital. So, no bank is interested in our industry because of the risk factors. There is nothing to mitigate it. I mean, as a businessman in other areas, I know what it is to borrow 100 million in the bank. You need to bring a property value to 200 million. There is absolutely no information about our industry to the owners of capital. So there's a need to put together data, maybe the finance houses as well. We need to commission a study, a document, maybe KPMG will help. There has to be, what is the value, what's the worth of our industry? And what are we going to use this capital for? It's not to buy the latest cars and change your suit and your watch. It is to put all the infrastructure of an enduring entertainment industry. Let's even take the film industry for example. Is there any sound studio in this country? One single sound studio. Is there any? No. Because you are the product, and some of the businessmen here are also products and businessmen, there's a challenge. Who is speaking for us? So one of the things we're going to do in this summit is to ensure that we get some capitalist champions for this summit. We're going to invite some of the real guys in the capital industry. The people that have 2, 3 banks. You'll be shocked what people have in this country. Individuals with 2 or 3 banks, yes. Where are the standards? Where are the shows? Today, Star, the corporate bodies are the ones organizing shows, and they're basically just marketing their products. They're not pulling back. Though I've been accused, last time was the 25th anniversary of Lekki, and the governor of Lagos said, I want to start it again. They said, I'm too old to start organizing concerts. But if you are ready to bring the money, I can put together the team of young people. I can make it happen. And truly, maybe now I've seen Tony, we can talk about it. Maybe we need an annual platform. But that's just for the music industry. How about the sports industry? How about the film industry? So regulation is very important. And in conclusion, a new day and a new dawn has happened. I stepped aside, and I've exerted my energy in many other areas, and I'm back home. And if all I can do in the next 2-3 years is to help to send this Nigerian Internet Fund, a big pool of money that can help us to put all of these things in place and make this a viable, sustainable, and rewarding effort for the veterans there, and a lot of people that are just coming there, then will say we've done. So I hope to see you all in December. Thank you very much.
First, I am the regional secretary for an organization called the Pan-African Federation of Filmmakers, FEPACI. It was founded in 1969 by Sembene Osman and other frontline African filmmakers. But since 1969, it's been the only umbrella body for all African filmmakers. We have observer status with the African Union, and we have 3 specific mandates from the African Union. 1, the establishment of the African Film Fund. 2, the establishment of the African Cinematographic Convention. And 3, the establishment of the African Film Commission. Since 2010, we have been trying to actualize these mandates. In 2011, Nigeria sent the federal delegation. Essentially, the purpose of this summit is to be able to further this conversation and try to attract the kind of capital that Mr. Adelegan is talking about. There is a role for the government to play. There is a role for the individual to play. There is a role for the money banks to play. Everybody has a role to play. It is not one person that is going to bring about this transformation. And then I'd like to appeal to some of my colleagues that look, FEPACI Western Region 1 has remained the way it is, so that we wanted to keep FEPACI away from the politics of Nollywood. I want to appeal to everybody, please let us for once keep this politics outside. I don't want us to forget the primary objective of this forum. The primary objective here is to say that, look, maybe SMC is being shy about it because they're a big institution. The idea is how do we start getting the money to organize this summit? That is really the story. What we always forget is that in the industrialized countries, there is no sector. The first time I went to the US, I was shocked to find that the music industry is where they meet every year, and the musicians do their booking for the whole year. Every sector has that kind of gathering. This is what we want to achieve.
Now, something is missing in the industry, obviously. There are many things missing, but I will tell you the most important thing that is missing. No one has been able to tie into the intellectual resource as a device. That is what is missing to come. Elsewhere in the world, universities are known to be places of wealth creation, empowerment. Go to the University of Waterloo in Toronto, you'll be amazed at what resources that universities can produce and what difference universities can make. 2.5 years ago, my brother also came to where Kosan used to be, a 2-bedroom flat somewhere in Haida. Mahmoud, you've been there, and I think Madu has been there. At that time, we didn't have a shilling, and if we asked any bank for money, nobody was going to listen to us. Just in December, I had how many banks at the reception of Kosan waiting to take our accounts, because we had done a dirty job ourselves. We didn't get a shilling from government or anybody. We are simply focused on what we had to do and refused to take no from anybody. My brother Dapo here will tell you how many times we fought. We're the best of friends now, right? The point I'm making simply is that this industry, if we are serious, we ought to be ready to do the hard work. Everybody seems to want someone else to do the work for them to benefit. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to be ready to do the hard work. And if there was any statement made here that made sense to me, it was that of Madu. We should stop all of this quarreling over poverty. Everybody wants to have 100% of nothing. I'd rather have 1% of $1 trillion naira, which is what I think the industry is worth.
We have had countries beginning to have legislation to back their investment in Nigerian entertainment industry. That means that they are coming in to invest in Nigeria. But I think locally we have to be investment ready. So that when they come,
to become partners. Because otherwise, well, the way we are doing, and I like the presentation to which he said, we are good in show, not good in business. That's why we are very popular or very broke. And we die paupers, but that shouldn't be our case. Because we shouldn't be like the Zimbabweans, whereby when they now come, we'll start chasing them about that they have invested in the industry. Let's be investment ready. Let's begin to corporatize our activities. Let's be real corporate, so that when they come, we're partners, we're equals. And that is what will make sense in the investment. Otherwise, at the end of the day, they will make all the money and there will be capital flight. So at the end of the day, there's no benefit to us.
Prof and I have identified a couple of top people in the finance industry of the country. And what we will do is we will go to them and show them the numbers. Because financiers only look at the numbers, right? And let them see the competitive advantage, the opportunities in the industry, and give them a preliminary plan. We have a couple of ideas, and I believe that by the time we meet with the members of this consortium after this PreSummit, we need to put together a small document, and maybe with the auditing firm, to develop a study of the value of the Nigerian entertainment industry. And then we'll call this gentleman. They're actually like the people you know. But I said they can conjure 50 billion in 1 hour if they see good numbers. We'll then have another summit for them, even before the summit, so that during the summit, they will be the one presenting the template for a Nigerian entertainment fund. We're looking at maybe a 10 billion Naira fund in the first instance that will be available for infrastructure, development, support for people like him, people like Ebony Television.
This content that we're talking about, content is king. We're launching a 24/7 channel, and we have dedicated all our resources in the last 12 months to building content. And the challenge the industry faces more than any other is capacity. The people that can actually edit. Because we're talking about this content having global appeal. If you want to create content that has that look and feel, that can go to any market, we've spoken, we've spent a fortune on research, talking to our key demographic. Our key demographic is 18 to 34. And what they want is young, fresh, sassy looking, sophisticated looking content. They don't want to be bored by, even my show, I am looking for a co-host, because they don't want to just see me anymore, they want to see somebody younger than I am. That's what the research says. So it's about all of us waking up and facing the fact that, who are we talking to? And if we're talking to this demographic, what is the content we're feeding them? Who's going to produce it? Who's writing the scripts? I know the challenges I have had trying to get script writers that can write. I can't go to a foreign script writer to write a Nigerian story. But if I tell you some of the scripts that have been submitted to me, we've had to re-edit, and we develop, and we develop. It's just, so it's about capacity building. A lot has to go into how we're going to train our producers, our directors, our editors, writing scores for music, graphic design, the whole package. That's where the investment has to go, in my opinion. Because once we have that content, the world will listen to us. They will want to understand and know about the Africa that we have. Because if not, they're going to keep saying Africa that you see on CNN every day with people starving. You know, I mean, I was on the streets of London a couple of years ago asking people, when you hear the word Africa, what do you think? I mean, I wish I brought that thing here today. Famine, HIV, giraffes, starving babies, Mugabe. That's what they think. How do you come to form these opinions? It's what I read in the newspapers. It's what I see on television. How do you grow an African brand with those kinds of perceptions of Africa? That's where the struggle begins. So it's all about building that content. But that content, in my opinion, our channel is going to be glossy, it's going to be beautiful. That's the reality that exists, and that's the reality that we would like to show. But then someone has to develop that content.
Capacity is important. I think part of what we're trying to do in building an investment fund is to develop capacity. At the moment, we have an MOU that is the School of Media and Communication with the Media City, trying to set up an African Film Academy. Now, that is an important project, and I think there's been a lot of conversation with the Canadians and the Americans on this one. It's important to us. We have been trying to develop capacity from the when I came to the School of Media, and we're going to continue to do this. It's important to invest even in the training programs. Because right now there's not a single African Film Academy as such that I know, which is really doing what it ought to be doing. So really, and more importantly, there needs to be investments. More importantly, there needs to be investments. Because, I mean, it is not enough to point out that there needs to be investment, and you can get people who don't have the resources to go to schools that they cannot afford. So the investment ought to be also in, you know.
We all know the creative economy, the creative arts as driving force, but the investment people have not done enough to get the right people to put the documents together. I heard that we're talking about KPMG and all of these people putting this information together. I'm not even sure they're going to be, able to do it. Because there's absolutely no more mention, there's absolutely no capacity even in these places for doing the research required. But we do know people who have invested time and effort in the various industries, the entertainment, the film, but no one seems to want to call them to the table and say, you spent 10 years, 15 years in this, you must have some information. So in putting this document together, I'd like to offer some advice. Please go to the people who have put time and effort in film, in entertainment, in sports, in fashion, and get them to give you the background to some of these things so that you can have the final document that all your investors can use.
I am very a bit unsettled that because I would like us as an M&E industry to come up with a paper, especially when we're talking about the economics of our industry, to come up with a paper, just like my sister said, that has been contributed to by people who understand the business of this industry, who have, against all odds, been working on the business of this industry. And I think you need to meet, names can be suggested to you later. You need to meet with those kinds of people to come up with that paper, to meet with these capitalists that you're talking about. A lot of them we know. For example, GT, for example, actually used to have a film desk. They were the first one with the film desk, and Lola was the one that was actually heading the film desk at that time. I don't know what happened. The whole thing came to naught. All right, but but it is very key to meet with certain people so that when we meet with these capitalists, we're not coming up with information that does not give the true picture of what is happening in the industry.
Like we have just been offered 3 billion grants. It's a starting point, but we don't know what it's all about. Who are to administer it? How it's going to be disbursed? So maybe for this forum, we need to bring in people, right? Who we hope eventually will administer this fund. They're very critical.
We have, as an institution, NEXIM, engage a lot of these stakeholders at different fora to develop a framework for funding. And we always go through the pain to explain to people that we are a bank, a regulated industry. There is a form, there is a way to which you can engage. The central bank has given regulation, and we work within that regulation to give loans. We try as much as possible to do. The problem that Nigeria has is that our copyright laws, I don't know if you can confirm to me that it's effective.
They are not enforced.
No, it's not even effective because the copyright law, when you bring the copyright thing that is given you, it has a tiny line of a disclaimer that this document that you have does not confer copyright to you. So I'm having a useless paper. How can I use it to learn? Because the man that is supposed to protect the property that you have has already issued a disclaimer on the property. And that's why, like I said, we NEXIM are even sponsoring a copyright reform system. And we are sponsors to it that they should reform it, that they can confer title. And with that, I can learn. And we have engaged the NEXIM Bank of India to give us a summary of what they did 20 years ago in India for them to intervene. And this report, we have forwarded it to the federal government, we have forwarded it to a central bank, we have forwarded it to the presidency, and we have forwarded it to the coordinating Ministry of Information and then Culture and Tourism, for them to appreciate that this is what other governments are doing. This is what other jurisdictions are doing. And for your information, which I may not tell you, let me just read one of the recommendations that we have told government on your behalf, because we noticed some of these things. One of it is to tell them that enhance copyright enforcement, intensify the enforcement system of the copyright system to mitigate intellectual property theft and piracy. This is a suggestion we have made to the government. And the second one is explore the establishment of entertainment industry guarantee fund. Because the issue is that some jurisdictions have it, whereby loan can be given to Joke without collateral, but there's a guarantee fund that will come. They have done it for the agri sector. But we are saying do it for the entertainment industry. We are the one advocating. You didn't tell us to do it because we know what some of you are facing as challenges to getting loans from us. The laws of this country, the karma laws of this country says that anybody that gives a loan, a bank, without collateral, will go to jail. And that's why you have the failed bank tribunal. It was there. Abacha was doing it to jail people because you gave a loan without collateral. So you have to understand that we have to have a balance. And another thing that I can give Joke money for making film, Balogun for making film in Nigeria. But from the little studies that we have done, even the best grossing film in Nigeria today, which was Skyfall in Nigeria, I'm just saying in Nigeria, just gross about 300 million. And if you want to make a very good film, that will gross that to 300 million, you may need about that 300 million. And then there's a problem. That is the box office. The cinemas will take their percentage. The Lagos State government or whatever will take their percentage, or this thing. And then the distributor will take their percentage. At the end of the day, the filmmakers may get between 20 to 30%. How can I now lend to you 300 million? And then you grow 300 million, and at the best that you get is 60 million. How can you pay me back? These are some things that we have to put into context. That's so that we know. Because that's why we are like supporting Kenya, because our argument has been that the screen per million in Nigeria is one of the lowest in the world. The screen per million in Nigeria is 0.36 screen per million people. India that we are talking, they have 13,000 screens. And their screen per population, their billion population, is 12 screens per million. So that's why in the 1 week of opening film, the man generates money and pays back a loan. So these are some of the challenges that we see. We keep on saying it. It's better to give money that will be paid back, that will make the industry sustainable. If we are not doing it by sentiment, we'll kill the industry. Because those investors that are coming and say, but people have been giving money there and they've been losing money. So it will be a disincentive to lend into the industry. And that's why we always preach in the context of preaching. Bear with us, but that is what the challenge is. And I'm happy that these opportunities are coming, because these opportunities are coming. The only film they are talking about, most of the films that they don't even go to banks. Most of the studios finance it. And sometimes venture capital do that. How many venture capital firms do we have in Nigeria? So you see, these are some of the challenges, and that's why we talk about the insurance thing. We notice it because we've discussed with NEXIM and we discussed with the Nigerian insurance. Can you give us like a completion bond? Can you give us like a key man insurance for the main actor as some of the collateral for it? But they are not forthcoming to it. And truly, when you look at it, the issue is that when you look at the completion bond thing, because we've studied it to appreciate the fact, who will now be the insurance person that will do the completion bond? Because it is somebody that knows the industry, that knows the production and the direction of making films. Because it is when the filmmaking is failed, that is when you, like it's a surgeon, like I was trying to explain to Kenny. When you go for a surgery, and then there's a problem with the surgery. When you go for a correction surgery, you don't go to an inferior surgeon. You go to somebody that knows it and is an expert in it. So if a person making film has gone over budget, who will be in the insurance industry that will do the correction? It's somebody that is knowledgeable. So we have to invest in that. Just in closing, what we are doing is to make the industry attractive. Our funding intervention in all the sectors that we have done, cocoa, trolling and everything, when the banks are not lending to that industry, we lend to that industry. When they become attractive, they don't come back to us. These banks now goes back to them, all of them. That is how they've been doing. Our own is to make you attractive. And like the model of India says, 20 years ago, they are financing 90% of Bollywood film. Today, in India, they finance less than 10% because it has been made attractive and the commercial banks are going there. And that is the model we are developing.
When we get there in December, we don't want to hear too much talk. It shouldn't be a talk shop. They should be the one, that's you, the organizer should be the one addressing us. You are finished, you have a document you are presenting to the Nigerian entertainment industry in order to be able to assess the fund. These are the guidelines. These are the do's and don'ts. This is the percentage, maybe it's a single unit interest rate. We want to get all the information there and then. You send it to us and we know. So that way you'll be able to shatter all the glass ceiling of supposed funds that we've had announced by government, which is shrouded in mysticism.
I would like us to first make sure or plead with whoever that is concerned that when there are vacancies in government agencies for Nollywood, that we make sure that a practitioner or somebody who has a background of entertainment or film is appointed in that direction. Because when Mahmoud is talking about Montecon, if you see how we are mobilized to go and help the agencies that are writing affairs in Hollywood defend their budget so that they bring out money. If they had called us to follow them to go and say, we don't want any budget unless Montecon is in place, it would have been a step in the right direction.
It's not possible, you have the brains of the industry here, to be constituted into some sort of a quality control board, so that even now, some of the things that come out can have enhanced content quality. Thank you very much.
I told you we went around to see how the business is done. We found out that for this industry to work, there has to be a globally recognized film and TV training academy in Africa. So far there's none. And they can't invent wheels. So why not partner with who have done it? And so Trend Media City has partnership with world's #3 film and TV academy. It's called Whistling Pole International. We are going to have the first globally known African film and TV college right here in Nigeria. We're doing a multi-campus thing. The first phase will have 3 campuses. One in Port Harcourt, one in Lagos, and one in Johannesburg. So that wherever you are from Africa and you want to get trained and get certified in the industry, you have a choice of Lagos, Port Harcourt, or South Africa.
Distinguished colleagues, I will quickly be brief. Much has been spoken, but I would like to speak from the perspective of the Nigerian Film Corporation and what we've been doing there. We actually have been working with some stakeholders here, collectively and individual, and we have been working closely with NEXIM Bank in particular to make sure that the sector is properly funded. And then secondly, we also want to talk about the issue of structuring the industry, the film industry. Some stakeholders have been here, they've been working and they've worked. And principally, so many years ago, about 4 years ago, there about 4 committees were set up to come up with 8 years ago, some national documents that will drive the industry. And principally, most of the stakeholders have been talking about more pickup. I would like to tell this house that the corporation has done everything possible. I think at this point, I would like to crave the indulgence of practitioners, relying on what Gaboski said, if there can be some advocacy outside there to get these documents to the new light. And that takes me to what the MD of Trendy was saying. Also, he said that they're trying to, there's been no training institutes or institutions in the country. I quite disagree with him. We have the National Film Institute in Jos. We have the Television College in Jos. We have some private individuals who are running training institutes or institutions. Academy, IFBA. Now we have your center. So we have a lot of training institutions. And I mean, I want to believe that we should, if we can set up more, fair deal, but we should be able to fund the existing ones. We should fund the existing ones. And as a corporation, we have tried that much. Well, budgetary constraints, we have now relied on central bank, and we are benefiting from the STEPI project heavily in terms of funding.
One of the issues that I would like us to attend to is the perspective of the media. A few people just, all they want to do is just to get popular without necessarily understanding what it takes. I would love for us to have a system where before you even get near to a studio to make a song, you have gone through the ropes in such a way that you are qualified. Otherwise, you will not even get near. Number two, I would also want to go to the movies as well. We have a situation in other clients where every movie has a soundtrack album. We have quite some trends in the past. I'm sure that Dr. Abalomo would remember Ejike Asiegwu, Olayas. They all have, in fact, I remember at some point, FEPACI had a film village. What has happened to that one? There are histories. It's not that the private sector hasn't invested in entertainment over time. I would remember that Okoroji was sponsored by UBA. The Masquerade was sponsored by CCB, Cooperative and Commerce Bank. One organized Village Headmaster was sponsored at some point, and so many others like that. What did we do to build on those legacies? The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. Is it that they are going in vain? And may I also add one last one. The media is ready to support. The new media, the online media, is also ready to support. The question is, what is there to support? You get online, you want any information about virtually any actor or musician abroad, you get full data on Wikipedia. What do you have? What do we have about our Nigerian this thing? And also add this, that I'm very sure that my organization, Brilliant TV Continental, is able and willing to support whatever this body is interested in towards this server. Thank you.
Take the steps that were promised. Next year when we meet again, I'm sure we'll have testimonies to growth and development for this industry. Yes, the summit is in December, but I'm going to be proposing that this becomes an annual forum, an interaction forum for the industry. That every year, year in, year out, we meet just to take stock taking under the auspices of SMC to review where we are, whether what we said we've been able to achieve, and whether there are problems. And it also becomes annual. And by extension, maybe we should also have an annual film and entertainment market event in this country for the Nigerian entertainment industry. There will be a 2-3 day conference exhibition that speaks to the business of entertainment in this country on an annual basis. Because that is the only way to go. Because then we need to measure standards, understand, share experiences, and then so the money people, the talent people, the ideas people will meet, and then that's the only way the industry will grow, and owners of capital will then see that we're serious. So just to summarize, on the summit funding, because somebody mentioned about writing your check, I think it was Chikwendu.
Yes.
I think it's important that we take this very seriously. If this is going to be in December, then if we do not have the marketing brochures out now, then we're running late. I'm surprised. So I've told Prof that I won't let my expertise to ensure that the next 15 days, a sponsorship and marketing document for this event is in place. Because that document will take us to my friend in Abuja, will take us to Lola, GT Bank, and give them the first round of refusal to be the platinum sponsor for this event. They can follow it. Because once we have the platinum sponsor, then the seed fund to travel around the world, travel around Africa to galvanize support will then be in place. We can put venue, because there's no event actually without the dates and the venue. So this is not an event until we can put a co-hotel and whatever and so dates. And you need money to make that happen. So on the other issue of the industry funding, I think we've agreed to that extent going forward. We will probably have one more event before December, maybe in the next 1 month, that will speak specifically to the capitalist champion. I will invite some of the heads of the banks and the institutions to another meeting with some of the key players in the industry, Genius, as well as the organizers of this event, to speak specifically to what are the foundations that we need to lay to set up that fund that can act as a guarantee to practitioners without collateral to access funds from NEXIM and back on the industry. I think that's all I have to say at this time, and I will say I'm back, and I will retire as a practitioner. Thank you very much.